Of all nature's creations, only water and clouds are in a continuous cycle. Water from the oceans, rivers and lakes, when it evaporates, creates clouds. Then, in the form of rain, mist, dew, frost and snow, the water returns to Earth, where it creates surface runoffs that feed the oceans, rivers and lakes. The cycle is continuous, never-ending. Water, as the lifeblood of our planet, in refining itself, nurtures everything. The deep, winding cuts were created by flowing water 40 million years ago. Rivers are the veins carrying the nutrients that are vital for life. They are able to perform this function thanks to the crevices they have formed and the erosion they have perpetrated on the Earth's surface. In this process, the water cuts into and breaks down rock and other substances to extract the organic matter and minerals that are essential to all forms of life. Most important of these are salt, calcium and iron. Since the time of their earliest ancestors, humans have settled by water. Rivers and lakes have been a vital support and source of nourishment not only for human life, but also for human civilization. In Yunnan province, the rivers that originate on the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau flow mostly southward, although some do head to the east, but all are a vital source of water for China and Southeast Asia. If the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau is considered the water tower of Asia, then Yunnan is its water pipe. Descending from the highest plateau in Asia, there is a great gathering of tributaries, creeks and streams that nourish the whole of the vast continent. Yunnan itself has 6 major water systems. From west to east, they are the Dulong River, Nujiang River, Lancang River, Jinsha River, Yuanjiang River, and Nanpan River. From the roof of the world, they eventually reach the Pacific and Indian Oceans, along the way nurturing not only a diversity of life, but also splendid civilizations. The Jinsha River forms the upper reaches of the Yangtze, which, with the Yellow River, is the cradle of Chinese civilization. The Lancang, after leaving China, is called the Mekong. It's the most important cross-border river in Asia, serving not only China, but also Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam. The Nujiang, known as the Salween River in Myanmar, is the longest river in Southeast Asia, and the Dulong is a national symbol of Myanmar, where it's called the Irrawaddy. The Yuanjiang is the only cross-border river with its source in Yunnan. In Vietnam, where it's known as the Red River, its delta is one of the world's richest rice-producing areas. The green peafowl, when it spreads its colorful tail feathers, recreates the fan shape of a river basin. The green peafowl lives in the wild in the Yuanjiang River basin. In December 2020, a court in Yunnan ordered the suspension of a hydropower project that threatened the green peafowl's habitat. This was the first legal case in Chinese history to place environmental protection above the public interest. Humans had learned that they needed to make sacrifices if they were to protect this beautiful bird. Spring is the peafowl's mating season. To attract a mate, the peacock shows off its magnificent, colorful tail feathers. Once the mating is completed, the peahen will find somewhere safe to hide, where she can lay and hatch her eggs. "30 days later, the chicks are waddling after their mother. Meanwhile, the peacock is starting to shed his tail feathers. In another of nature's cycles, it will regain them again in the coming spring." Kawakapo, at 6,740 meters, is the highest peak in the Meili Snow Mountains. From here, the confluence of the Yuanjiang and Nanxi rivers is 960 kilometers away to the south. Yet, in this relatively short distance, Yunnan's terrain slopes dramatically downward by over 6,660 meters. Near their respective sources, the Jinsha, Lancang, and Nujiang rivers are raging and turbulent. The near vertical drop generates enormous vigor and power. These three great rivers originate close to one another and flow parallel from west to east for hundreds of kilometers. This gives rise to a unique spectacle of three rivers flowing in parallel. Within the protected area here, there are several nature reserves and places of scenic beauty that have collectively been awarded World Heritage Site status. The shortest straight-line distance between the Lancang and Jinsha is 66 kilometers, and that between the Lancang and Nujiang just 18.6 kilometers. The unique environment, flora and fauna of the region are a product of being squeezed by the Hengduan Mountains. Aside from the three parallel rivers, there is a fourth in the region, the Julong. It too originates on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, before flowing quietly through the last unexplored parts of southwest China. Before the road was built, every winter the river valley was virtually cut off. The capped langur, listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, inhabits the Julong River region. Li Yingcheng is the first member of the Julong ethnic group to gain a formal qualification as an ecologist. Since his graduation, he has been traveling in the area studying capped langurs. The walk is long and hard, but finally he sees what he's been looking for. In March, after the snow melts, the rocks on the riverbed can be seen clearly through the icy, clear water. In summer, the wet season, the level of the Julong rises dramatically, but its waters remain as clear as ever. The Julong, crystal clear, pure and emerald green all year round, has nurtured a unique civilization. In March, the powerful Nujiang River is also crystal clear. Early in the morning along the river and among the mountains, smoke can be seen rising from chimneys, a sign that people are starting their daily routine. Chua Suohang has a 10-kilometer walk ahead of her. She's going to offer her congratulations on the completion of a new house. There, she'll take with her a traditional local delicacy, congee with lacquer oil. The lacquer oil comes from the seeds of lacquer trees growing on the mountain, but extracting it's a tricky process, which few people can master. Congee with lacquer oil is a delicacy that's unique to the new ethnic group, and the local government is determined to keep the art of making it alive. The completion of a new house is a cause for celebration among the new people. This one stands among the Bilor snow mountains, beside the Nujiang River. According to ancient custom, relatives and friends will come from the surrounding villages to offer their congratulations. Serving congee with lacquer oil is a custom that's said to ensure that the mountains and land have accepted the villagers and wish them well. With traditional songs and dances, the villagers extend best wishes to the new homeowner. The louder the noise, it's believed, the more harmonious and prosperous life will be for the family. In the rainy season, people living along the Nujiang have no farm work to do, and instead enjoy some leisure time. The rhythms of life are echoed by the Jinsha River. From the dry seasons of winter and spring to the wet seasons of summer and autumn, the Jinsha presents an ever-changing landscape. It has its source on the vast and precipitous Qinghai Tibet Plateau, where it forms the upper reaches of the Yangtze. Where it makes its way among snow-capped mountains and through steep gorges on the Yunnan Plateau, it's considered sacred. It's known as the Jinsha, as far as the city of Yibin in Sichuan. The name, which means golden sand river, comes from the sand on its bed that flickers like gold. Some rivers are described poetically as mild, gentle, and pretty. But the Jinsha is different. It's youthful, passionate, lively, and even angry. The many deep and narrow gorges give the Jinsha its dynamism and energy. Around the area of Tiger Leaping Gorge, the Jinsha falls dramatically and begins to power its way into the heart of China. When it reaches the border between Yunnan and Sichuan, the Jinsha suddenly describes a great, majestic turn. This wonder of the earth is known as Moon Bay, the first bay on the Jinsha River. Further on in Sichuan province and around the city of Yibin, it flows through a verdant basin where it's now known as the Yangtze. With its power to nourish and nurture, it gave rise to the great Yangtze River civilization. The rainy season has ended, and Sun Weibang and his team are taking to the road. They are in a hurry to get to a town called Judian, beside the Jinsha River, where they've heard an old friend has reappeared.
我们的团队在金沙江流域开展这个极小种野生植物的调查，在这个调查当中，我们就发现了云南梧桐的这个植株，所以这个过程实际上是一个偶然事件。20年发现它，我想作为一个保护生物学家，肯定是非常激动的。
In China, Fermiana major was previously officially listed as extinct in the wild.
这个种群呢，我们发现的应该是2000多株，但是它分布面积非常集中，主要还是担心发生不可逆的自然灾害对它产生破坏性的影响。我们希望在不破坏这个植物单株的情况下呢，对它采取一些果实，了解它的人工繁殖的特性，然后对它进行天地保护。
如果我们极小种你不提出来，跟你国际上这个样子，就反正就是因为植物。那么任何一个物种在自然界里面，它是很重要的一个组成环节。所以我们认为，保护每个物种，实际就保护了我们人类赖以生存的环境，也是保护了我们人类自己。
Since ancient times, the Jinsha River has nurtured a unique and diverse array of aquatic creatures, animals, and plants. For the Chinese government, protecting the ecological environment and saving rare species are a top priority. The Jinsha is a major focus of this undertaking.
建设鱼类增殖放流站，开展这种本地种土著鱼类的一些这个研究保护和增殖放流任务，然后保障这个鱼类种群能够不断的繁衍下去。哇，这大的很，有点大了。就是有点不是特别的整齐。薄荷坊的放流苗种，现在来看的话，应该说长得还是不错的。应该到10月份这个放流的时候的话，能够达到我们的放流的规格。 这些珍稀特有鱼类的话，它都是春季繁殖。那么我们开展繁殖的时候呢，大概都是在4月到6月份。我们现在目前繁殖的就包括这个矮圆鲤啊、薄荷坊啊，还有达氏鲟啊、圆口铜鱼啊，这些增殖放流品种的这个繁殖，然后这个苗种的培育。这个达氏鲟呢，现在的话已经实现了规模化的繁育。
Like its more famous cousin, the Chinese sturgeon, the Debris sturgeon is a migratory fish. But it's not so adventurous. Its migrations tend to be much shorter. It's one of the rarest fish species in the Jinsha and is listed as critically endangered.
截止2019年底呢，象牙坝增殖放流站累计开展了25次珍稀特有鱼类增殖放流活动，放流鱼苗总数量达到170余万尾，为我们长江上游珍稀特有鱼类的资源恢复和水域生态环境的修复起到了重要作用。
With the rare fish fry about to be released, every member of the team is busy.
中间留一个空位置。啊，那边来抬一个过去。啊，不能拖，千万不能拖。好，爬底上。 我们所这个培育的这些鱼苗都是，要么就是珍稀鱼类，要么就是特有鱼类。它在自然环境下的话，它已经不适应了。我们保护的物种的话，能够逐步的在自然界中得以恢复，能够在自然环境上它实现种群的自我延续。
The fish leaping into the river are like lost children who have found their way home. They are about to begin their life's adventure. From its source in Qinghai province, the Lancang River passes through Tibet and Yunnan in China. As the Mekong, it flows through Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam, before emptying into the South China Sea. The basins of the river, whether it's known as the Lancang or the Mekong, embrace almost every known landscape, with the exception of desert. It has among the greatest abundance of natural resources and the most diverse ecosystem of any river on Earth. Its biodiversity ranks second only to that of the Amazon River basin. The countries that share the Lancang Mekong also share a common future and mutual interests. Every country on Earth faces challenges in protecting the environment and ensuring sustainable development. In 2016, the Lancang Mekong Cooperation Mechanism was established, followed by the Lancang Mekong Environmental Cooperation Center to promote the Green Lancang Mekong Initiative. Protecting the river and realizing regional sustainable development is now the shared vision and a common program for the 6 countries involved. The ethnic Dai people, who live along the river believe that both heaven and earth originate from water, and water is essential to the creation of all life. Since ancient times, the Dai people have celebrated water sprinkling festival as an expression of their veneration for water. By sprinkling water on others, you are praying for their health and well-being. It's a tradition that harks back to the prehistoric belief that all things have a living soul and human beings are part of nature. Water, more than any other of her creations, expresses nature's will. Water can be benevolent when it's providing nourishment and cruel when it's swallowing everything in its path. Water is selfless in the way it nurtures all living things. Whether as rain or snow, stream or river, water sings a different tune and dances in a different manner. But ultimately, water is the source of life.
向所有方向